Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to have you here for a session on Book Creator for our short and sweet PD series. And short and sweet is just that. It's intended just to be a quick 30-minute quick hit into something digitally related. So I'm actually here today to talk about literally one of my favorite tools. And for those of you here in the session, I put the link to this slide deck in the chat. And those of you watching on video, I have created a bit.ly for you. So if you just type this bit.ly right here, just into your address bar there, bit.ly/BSD book creator intro. And the thing to know about it is that it is case sensitive. So make sure that you have all of these capitalized there so that you can get access to these slides. I am excited to be talking about Book Creator, and I do talk about a number of digital tools, and I help our school district out with a number of digital tools, but I might have to go out on a limb and say this is one of my very most favorite. And we had it during remote learning, and then it didn't make the budget cut, and I fought pretty hard to get it back. It is a tool that's appropriate pre-K all the way through high school, college, beyond. It's just the complexity of the book, but it is a simple tool that enables you to create these digital books that can be shared and are just beautiful. So if you've already played around with Book Creator, awesome. If not, here is an introduction for you. There are other introductory videos that kind of give you details on like how to make a book. This isn't that as much as this is really talking about some of the pretty awesome accessibility features that Book Creator has just built into it. So that's what I'm going to be talking about specifically today. So my name's Carrie. If I haven't met you already, my name is Carrie Kunert, and I work on our digital curriculum team. I have been an elementary teacher for 20 plus years, and I have been working in this digital space for the last, 6 or 7, I think. Below me are some of the tools that I work with in addition to many others. This slide deck is one that I've used for a number of different sessions. So you'll see some other resources, but I'm going to actually hop us down all the way to slide number 8. We'll start there for today. You're welcome to look at the other resources that I've used for other sessions in here, just about Book Creator. So if you would like to play along with us and do these things with me or poke around, you're welcome to do that. You just need to type in app.bookcreator.com. And when you type that into your URL, you're going to get to a screen that's a login screen. It's probably going to be yellow and it's going to say student sign in. Now you'll notice that there is an option to switch to teacher sign in. So you're going to want to make sure that you're on the teacher instead of a student. And then you're going to want to sign in with Google, and you'll just do your normal Google sign in and it will get you into Book Creator. And hopefully when you're in Book Creator, it should look like this. All right, so when you hop in there, this should be your teacher dashboard with all the libraries that you've created, and then beneath the libraries that have been shared with you by other people. So if you do want to play along with us, that's where the screen is that you should be on, and make sure that you're on your libraries. Now, I'm going to move ahead to the next slide here in our slide deck because I have gathered for you on slide number 9. So right now I'm on slide number 9. I have gathered for you a number of different resources specifically talking about accessibility features and how all kinds of students can utilize Book Creator successfully. And there's all kinds of really neat, just embedded tools. I wanted to let you know that these are some of the things that Book Creator can do. And every single one, when I told you about it, I made sure that there was a video or information to show you how to do that. So when you're reading it going, oh man, I wonder how to add alt text, right, to images to make sure that those can all be read. I gave you directions right now. They're all hot linked, so you can just touch on any of these and learn how to do it. Another thing that I gave you here is this little, I have an arrow pointing to it. If you click here, this picture, there is a whole article right here. There are 230 accessibility features inside of Book Creator. Now, obviously in short and sweet, we're not going to get to all 230, but there is more information there that you can read about. So make sure and click there and you can read that article. Another resource I want to show you is down here in the bottom right. I attended this webinar. This is a webinar about how to promote inclusivity with Book Creator. And it is by the Inclusive 365 is a book, and the authors did this awesome webinar. And I went ahead and I linked for you this little YouTube icon right there. That YouTube icon actually has the video to this really great webinar. It's about an hour long. So if you have time for that, awesome, watch that. But I wanted to make sure that you had that. And this image right here is actually the book that they shared. So I think this book is pretty awesome. And I'm going to be referring to it today as I share some of the features. So I wanted to make sure you had the book that these authors, they wrote a separate book, but they're also, we're talking in Book Creator. They did this webinar. And you have the YouTube video. Okay, so once you're inside of that book and you can just click there, it's a great part about Book Creator. Like they created their book about using Book Creator in Book Creator, and then they shared it. And when you share it, you don't have to have a Book Creator account or anything to be able to enjoy that book. So books could be shared, with families. They could be shared with other schools. It's a great way to publish. So this team created this pretty awesome book, and this is the article I told you about, the 230 accessibility features. Okay, I'm going to use their book as my guide, and then I'll hop into Book Creator to show you how to do all of these things. Now, one of the very first ones is that it has the ability to do text to speech. So in the most simplest form, Book Creator is creating books, right? So I'm going to hop into one of my little libraries. My son created this book right here. He told a Japanese myth about the creation. And now after he has created this, he actually created it to look like a comic strip, which is one of the features in Book Creator. When someone is viewing it, they have the ability. So this is the viewing mode. They have the ability to have it read to them. So I'll just click that so you can hear.
Once upon a time, before a world began, two gods got married.
Now you can see it actually highlighted the word as it was reading. So it is always a feature within Book Creator to be able to have the book read out loud to you. So once you have published, or a student could write some text and have it their own book read to them. So at any point they could have the ability to listen to the book read aloud. So I think that is one of the, it's a simple feature, but so incredibly useful. So here are directions for exactly how you can go about doing that. Another feature is that it has the ability to do speech to text. So for you to be able to speak, and this part is pretty amazing, it actually can let people speak in over 120 languages, which again, I don't even know another tool that can do quite that extent. So I'm going to hop into this just kind of pretend book here. I'm hopping into the editing mode of this little pretend book here that I've just created. And I'm going to go ahead and add audio in here. I'm going to do speech to text. And when you want to add anything in Book Creator, you might notice this is where students edit. And there are quite literally very, very few buttons. If I want to add something to my book, I'm going to touch the plus sign. So I have the ability to add imagery, camera, you can have still pictures, you could do video, pen, I'll show you some of these, text, and the ability to record. So I'm going to record my voice. I'm going to choose that one this time. And now it's just this simple. I'm going to start recording. I'll click start recording. It counts me down 3, 2, 1. This is my example of speech to text in Book Creator. I'm going to click stop recording. It's going to let me listen to it if I would like to listen to it right there. I'm going to choose not to. I'm going to use that recording, and it takes a moment, and it creates this little button right here. So this little audio button is this, what I just recorded. I can click on it. This is my example of speech to text in Book Creator. Okay, so I can listen to it right there. Now, once I have this little audio recording, you can imagine maybe there's text on there, or maybe just a student explaining their thinking or whatever. It just goes right on their book. So they could have all these images and whatever, and their narration can just be a little image over here to the side. Now, that's a pretty cool thing. If I go over here to the little eye over there, let's see here. Oops, goodness, I forgot to do something. My fault. I'm going back. I'm going to add another one because I forgot to show you the thing I was supposed to show you. All right, I'm going back to recording. I'm going to start recording. Let's see. I think, oh, you know what? My fault. My apologies. My apologies. I'm in the wrong section. That was what I was going to show you later. Okay, strike that. Here we go. I'm going to want to write something. I got ahead of myself. I want to write something. So I'm going to do speech to text. That's what I'm going to do, not my audio recording. So if I want to write something and I want the text to appear there, I'm going to speak. And when I touch this microphone right here to speak, voice to text, it's going to ask me in which language I want to do that. And I currently, you might notice, I'm set up to do it in English. So everything I am saying is being translated into English here, being written in English. But I do have the option to choose a number of different languages. Okay, so there we go. I was talking in English and it has put that text for me. I'm going to get that out of my way, right? I was able to simply narrate my story and it was able to put it down for me. Now, obviously, I would need to either speak my punctuation or I could always click and go back and edit my punctuation and add things to it so that I could make sure it was grammatically correct if I wanted to. But at least we got the words on the paper, which is often such an issue for many, many students, to make sure that they have the words down on the paper that they want to. So I wanted to make sure to show you that you can simply narrate things right inside of Book Creator. Okay, I did get ahead of myself. All right, here's another thing. Hopping back over here. So speech to text, and there are directions. Open up that text box. I guess I should have read that. And another thing that we can do is we can insert all kinds of images and drawings. So there is the ability to search for images. So if I am back in this book and I want to have a picture, I go up to add. Every time I want to add something to my book, I touch add. I want to add an image. And one of the neat parts is I could type in what I want. I could upload a picture if I wanted to. I also yet again have the microphone where I can say what I want to find. German Shepherd. Neat part about that is I didn't have to know how to spell German Shepherd. I was able to just tell it what I wanted it to be able to find. And I have all of these images of German Shepherds that I am able to use. You might note that these images are already from Pixabay and they already have the Creative Commons permissions to be able to be used. So we're not just like Google searching any image out there. So we're going to grab, oh, he's beautiful. All right, we're going to add that to our book. Okay, when he comes into your book, he is going to come in nice and large. If I click on him, I get these blue handles here and I can then modify the size of them. I could use the green here to tilt him should I want to. Yes, I do. That looks lovely. All right, I have him placed where I want him to be. So we can have that image search, which is super nice. And again, those proper permissions. I think that's pretty cool. Another thing that we're able to do right here is something that's called autocomplete drawings. I'm going to go back to my book and I'm going to add something and I'm going to use my pen tool. Now I can choose all different colors. I can choose different types of pens, paintbrushes, crayons, highlighters, all kinds of things that you can draw with. I can obviously change the color of any of that, but this one I wanted to show you down here. It's an auto draw tool. So what I do is I click on this and as soon as I start drawing something, it's going to try to figure out what it is I'm trying to draw in terms of an icon. So I'm going to draw something here. Let's see. You might notice up at the top of my page here, it is trying to guess at what it is I'm trying to draw, which is just kind of a fun game, right? But I'm not sure if anyone could tell I was intending to draw a fish and oh my goodness, there we go. Thank you. If I click that, it turns my drawing into a fish and I can say that I am done now. Now it gives me a fish in my drawing. Oops, I'm done. that I can manipulate, right? I can use his handles, I could stretch him, I can color him in, I can whatever. So that assistive drawing piece is nice. You can obviously just draw and have it be completely student work, but if they're wanting to have a certain icon or representation for something, it will just create this for them. And remember, anytime I put something in and I touch this eye tool is an inspector tool, and this tool will give me options for him. So I can then I can do different things in here, like here's where I would go ahead and add alt text. So if someone was visually impaired and they were reading this book and they needed to know what that image is, this is where, so I guess he is a fish blowing bubbles. I would put in alt text, and then that would be read by a screen reader. So let's add that in, beautiful. Okay, so now I have that little drawing tool, which is super cool. Autocomplete drawings is what that is called. You can give feedback, you can use stickers, you can put GIFs in there, like these images right here. There's a shapes tool in there where you can create different shapes, and alt text, which I just showed you how to do. Gosh, I showed you this earlier when I got confused there myself on which feature I was showing you, but you may add your own audio. So you can insert audio to pages to support the reading of the text that is on that page. You could just demonstrate understanding and learning through you talking. And then you can create a transcript of that. So here was that kind of mess up that I did earlier, but we'll use that one. I already recorded that little audio piece. Again, if I go up to the inspector, one option I have is to create a transcript of that. So if I click on add transcript, I'm going to tell them what language I was speaking in when I did the recording of that. And I was speaking in the United States English, and it will take a moment. It's going to listen to that and it's going to turn it into a transcript. So slightly different than the voice to text, but the same idea. It's going to create the ability for somebody, if they didn't want to listen to it for whatever reason, they didn't want to listen to the audio, but they wanted to be able to read what the audio was saying, then they could do that. So it'll take just a moment, and then it will put this little caption, little voice bubble there. There we go. So that is what I said in that audio recording. I can listen back to it and make sure it's correct. I'm going to click done. And now you'll notice that they have this little sign there. So I can hover over this and I can hear when I'm in the play mode of this book. So I could hover over this and I'd be able to see that there's a transcript. Okay, so that is what this audio says. I can either listen to it or I can just see the transcript of what it says. So that is another thing that it's able to do, which is, again, pretty amazing. And let's see here. Here is another. Let's hop back into this book. Video. Obviously, you can, it can do video right there. So it could be an alternative to writing something out. I could explain my thinking via video, creates engagement, obviously, and it provides a way to show what you know. So you're able to show what you know through a video. And again, always, if I want to add something, I touch add. I'm going to go to the camera here, and I have options up at the top here. I could take a still picture if I wanted to put a still photo in there, or I can hop over to record video, and it's going to count me down 3, 2, 1, and then I'm talking right in my video. I don't have to go externally anywhere. It's just going to do it right inside of Book Creator. I'm going to stop my video. Oh, wait, why does it always freeze you on a really charming way that your face is looking? I think it does that intentionally. I think it like quickly scans the video. So it's rendering that video really quickly for me. So on the pages of your book, you could have students video, right? Just video explaining what's going on in their science lab or explaining a math problem or whatever. So it does take a moment for it to do that. There I am. Oh, I'm way too big and making a funny face. So it could be up in the corner. It could be the focal point of that page of the book, whatever, totally up to you, how you decide that you want to design that to look. Now, obviously, you can always go up under inspector. And one of the things that you can do in the video is you can add a caption. And the caption, again, like I got the transcript of the audio, this will create a transcript of what I just did via video. It will create that transcript, and you will have a way to see exactly what I said. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that just because it'll take a minute to do that one. And then I'm talking. You get the idea. You could listen to me right there, but you click on anything that you want to manipulate. You can change it up. It's a lovely page so far to my book, right? So far, it's looking pretty good. You can add more pages to your book up there, right? So far, my book only has this. It's kind of my working space here. All right, so that's what I can do with video. Let's see here. Oh, he's reminding us. This is pretty cool. You can use Book Creator as a way to sequence events using a page sorter. So I have seen people do this. Eventually, your book ends up having multiple pages. Right now, my book only has these pages, but I have seen sometimes where people have used Book Creator to take images of a story, perhaps, or something, and these pages can just simply be manipulated. So you could do like a sequencing activity in here or steps to something, and using this feature of it to be able to manipulate. So you could give the kids a book with images or something, and they would need to put them in the proper order, right? So that's a kind of a outside of just creating a regular book. So all kinds of ideas here, telling a narrative, putting things in order, and then telling the story of what happens. So you could scaffold that by increasing or decreasing the number of pages. Another cool thing to do is that you can create graphic novels and comics. It's just one of the settings in Book Creator. And when you're getting ready to create a new book, you can choose just a blank book, or you can choose to have a comic book. And at this point, I always choose a comic book, whether or not I actually want to create a comic book. It actually just gives you more options. So I always choose that, even if I'm making a regular book. It gives me different fonts and texts and access to things that the regular books don't have. Again, even if I'm not intending to make a comic book per se. So some of the benefits of that, it reduces writing demand, but not complexity, right? So maybe less text, but the storyline, it could still be very much complex. Concepts of dialogue and inner thought, and you could choose how many pages or layouts. There's all kinds of different options in there that are really engaging for kids and pretty cool. And the idea of using these kind of books to create maybe like a social narrative, right? So they have an example here. You could give a student their individual book with their individual social stories or goals or gosh, all kinds of things. So they have, images. It could be pictures of the playground at your school, the hallway at your school, just so personalized, right? Pictures of the desks, right, in your space. So just could be this simple, right? An image and part of the story. So it could be an image of a person, and they have to talk about what that person may be thinking or feeling or whatever it is. So just some ideas, right? And again, as I told you, this book is linked here for you to be able to see. This article, again, has 230 accessibility features. So way more than I was able to cover here in our short amount of time. I have all of this linked for you, so you can check out the things there as well. And I wanted to show you on the next page, I have linked a book that Book Creator created called Differentiated Learning. And this is a book, and they published it, showing what students can do. And you can read this book digitally, just like your students can do. I could read this right here. And there are all kinds of, how you might use UDL, how you might engage, right? What colors you might be able to use, how you could use graphic organizers and templates, and how to publish. And it just has a ton of information there for you that I think is really pretty cool and helpful. And then let's see here. Oh, this is just a beginning. Slide number 11 is a little girl showing how to use Book Creator. And she just talks through it very simply, student to student. I touch here to get this. This is how I add a picture. And she just gives a tutorial. So again, you as the teacher don't need to know what all the buttons do in Book Creator. She gives a really beautiful introductory tutorial for students. There are some resources for how to use at different levels, pre-KK, elementary, middle, and high school. Those are all hot linked. So click on those and it'll take you to those guides. Another session we talk about remixable books where you can change things up. There's digital citizenship books. There is a course in there you can take if you'd like to know more about Book Creator, which is pretty awesome. We have some resources in district for you, and I've linked some webinars that are available for you. And our digital backpack, we have a number of different helpful things about how to get started on Book Creator. in there. And I want to make sure before I open up to see if there's any questions that in terms of attendance, when you're doing your attendance for attending this session, that you make sure that you are in your staff bookmarks there and that you open up KickUp. And when you're inside KickUp, you're going to click on this green button, which says to confirm your attendance. And then you're going to need to enter this code right here because this is the accessibility session. I'll put it in the chat for the people who are here live. And if you're watching via video, you enter this code right here and you put it right in this space and it will know that you were in this session and it will give you credit for it in KickUp. So I wanted to make sure that you got that code. Okay, that was a whole lot of me talking to you. And I know that there are just so many things in Book Creator that you can do. And again, it's literally one of my very most favorite tools. And I don't say that very often, but I think the possibilities and the engagement for students to publish their work is pretty incredible. So I hope you learned a lot in this session. Hopefully you use these accessibility tools. And thank you for listening if you're on video, and if you're here live and you have a question, we do have a few minutes left if you want to unmute and ask it, or you can put it in chat if you'd rather ask that way as well. I'm going to take that as no questions. Yeah, I think it did such a good, complete job that we have no questions. Okay, cool. Then I want to thank you for attending, and hopefully you learned something that can be awesome and helpful for you and your students. All right, thanks, guys.